Okay, welcome to Greg Kelly Reports. I'm Bob Brooks, filling in for Greg Kelly tonight. Let's do this. Let's talk tariffs. Trump said he was going to use them time and time again. You heard him say stuff like this.
And I say the most beautiful word in the entire dictionary of words is the word tariff. I love tariff. I can make anybody do anything through the use of tariffs.
But while he was campaigning, you didn't hear much out of the establishment media about it. They kind of went radio silent on it. Instead of focusing on campaigning against Trump policies, offering maybe something else, they called him Hitler. Turns out the American people don't buy their BS anymore. But now that Trump is doing what he said he was going to do, which is following through with the mandate that the American people gave him, American companies are shaping up. They're taking notice. Several top companies getting ready for Trump's proposed tariffs. Shoe company Steve Madden, they're one of them. They plan to reduce China-made products by 45%. Toolmaker company Black & Decker, they've also begun to shift production away from China and back into the United States. Personal care consumer company Church & Dwight has reduced the size of its production in China. Now we just got to make sure, everybody, they don't just go to another country. The pressure's got to stay on. Bring the jobs, the manufacturing back home. But not everyone is going to get on board, as many Democrats continue to spread fear about more tariffs and what they would mean for the economy. But some on the opposition, they've kind of come around now. Other world leaders, like Justin Trudeau. Trump said Canada better start helping out with the border and jobs, or you will be tariffed. And here's what happens next.
I had a good call with Donald Trump last night again. We obviously talked about laying out the facts, talking about how the intense and effective connections between our two countries flow back and forth. We talked about some of the challenges that we can work on together. It was a good call. Laying out the facts, moving forward in constructive ways. This is a relationship that we know takes a certain amount of working on, and that's what we'll do.
What do you know? Another world leader falling into line. But leave it to CNN and other libbed-up media to spin lies regarding what damage the Trump tariffs could do. Here's a headline. Trump's tariffs could usher in a worst-case economic scenario not seen since the 1970s. It is to no surprise that CNN ratings are crashing and major layoffs are looming because they love to peddle lies and falsehoods about Trump whenever they can. They went along with the whole charade to throw him in jail. Think about that. Maybe CNN should take a look back at this. That Biden took office and he was handed a 1.4% inflation rate by President Trump. And on top of that, Biden kept Trump's tariffs in place. Look at this write-up from Politico. D.C. slammed Trump's tariffs. Biden's decision to keep them draws a very different reaction. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. Bad if Trump uses them, good if Biden does. The left's double standards, I'm going to call it like this, everybody, it's gross. Trump using tariffs or threatening to use them against other countries is his negotiating tactic. It adds to that progress that he's making before he even gets back into office on January 20th. A few days ago, he put this out on Truth Social, a post. I told the European Union that they must make up their tremendous deficit with the United States by the large-scale purchase of our oil and our gas. Otherwise, it's tariffs all the way. The man means business. And the majority of the country was well aware of his intentions and put him right back into the Oval Office. Here's another headline meant to undermine his agenda. Trump vows new Canada, Mexico, China tariffs that threaten global trade. World leaders fear and respect Trump, everybody, and they understand his leadership. American trade will get back on track in other countries. They obviously will be held accountable. Isn't it nice to have a president who's fighting to try and bring back manufacturing? People from towns all across this country are depending on him to do just that. Look, everybody, I'm from Western Pennsylvania. I know what happens when the jobs leave. I sympathize with all of you. All right, back to Trudeau. Just a few weeks ago, he goes down to Mar-a-Lago. He shows up. He sits down with President Trump after those threats of tariffs. And you know what happened next? Multiple reports stated Canada's Trudeau says he had an excellent conversation with Trump after tariffs threat. Trump is getting more things done with the office of the president before he's even sworn in than Biden has done in 4 years. Trump has also had conversations with Mexico's leader just as well, resulting with very positive news, with one report saying this: President-elect Donald Trump declared a win on stopping illegal immigration through Mexico on Wednesday after talking with that country's leader. But Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum suggested Mexico was already doing its part and had no interest in closing its borders. We'll see how that turns out. He's also been meeting with business leaders to listen to the SoftBank CEO announcing a large investment right here in the United States.
I'm thrilled to announce that SoftBank will be investing $100 billion in America, creating 100,000 American jobs at a minimum.
This is double of last time, as President Trump said. Because I say, oh, President Trump is a double-down president. I'm going to have to double down.
How about this? Let Trump do his thing. He just won a landslide victory. He campaigned on using this method, but he also campaigned on getting inflation under control, the border under control, our standing on the world stage repositioned as the world's foremost superpower. And when it comes to inflation, one of the new talking points on MSNBC, of course, is now this.
Let's stop calling it a tariff. Let's call it a tax. It is a tax on consumer spending that will hit middle-class families and have exactly the opposite effect on inflation of everything we've talked about so far in this president's agenda.
All right. As I said before, he handed Biden a 1.4% inflation rate. That's like nothing. But also, after everything that we have all been through, how expensive this country has become under Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, don't you think the last thing in the world Trump would want is for things to get even worse? For the American dream of buying a home, putting food on the table, being able to have savings, maybe take a vacation, for all of that to become harder, it's the last thing he would want. It is a joke. The left's talking points are a joke. He's already proven he knows what he's doing with inflation, the economy. Again, I say this: let the man get to work.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.